Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am the repentant Republican, and my thanks to Laci Greene, yes, indeed, for the fantasy map and assuming that the only voters would be millennials. Yeah, but look where it came from. Source Monkey, or Survey Monkey, or whatever it is. Hey. And the map only covers 18 to 35-year-olds. Of course, Clinton would have won that group. Okay? Because they're too brainwashed to understand what really is going on. So, before we go any further, let's take a look at the breakdown by county of all voters. Ooh. Now, I hear a lot of people talking about changing the electoral college and going to a popular vote system. Well, all the stuff that's in red there are Republican votes. And this was taken a couple hours after the election when a lot of the results hadn't been taken or hadn't come in yet. Not all states have been declared. So, as we can see by this map, there is a large portion of the United States where it's just Republican. It's just Republican. And then we start to see the blues and the shaded blues. And again, we go back and look. And here's Laci Greene's map. Here's fantasy. Here's reality. Here's all the red. By county. Not just by state, by county. Again, fiction. So, again, reality. So what we see by my map is exactly what is going on. Now, for those of you who want to get rid of the electoral college and go to a popular vote system, well, how do you account for all the red? Okay, of course the population centers are going to vote majority Democrat because they don't understand what's going on in the heartland of the United States. And if you went back and looked at my map, you would see that the majority of the heartland states, the flyover states, as a lot of people call them, they're all red. Hey. Trump won in the heartland in dramatic fashion. Now, what does that tell you? Well, it should tell you several things, actually, but we'll delve into that a little bit later in another video, I think. But people just don't understand that, hey, why did Trump win, with such a large portion of states when he really should have lost? Well, the fact of the matter is that in those high population states, he actually did win there. He won in pretty impressive fashion. Okay? But the electoral college is set up so that demagoguery and high impact influence of certain groups, individuals, whatever, can't be truly felt. And the electoral college is set between a buffer of just running in the major cities and their suburbs and running in all 50 states and covering a lot of areas that need to be covered. Essentially what you have with the electoral college style election is you have 51 elections versus, say, 25 or 30 elections, which is ultimately what you would be left with is that all you had to do was run on the West Coast and the East Coast, and you don't have to cover any of the other states. Well, that means that a large chunk of the voters are going to be forgotten. They're going to be neglected. They're going to be run into situations where they're not going to be heard. Okay? So those of you who are yelling and screaming, running around yelling and screaming, we need to change this and go to a popular vote, realistically, we can't. We cannot cannot go back to that style, or we can't go to that format or that particular style of election. It doesn't work that way. It's bad for everybody. Okay? And if you want to see bad, then there it is. If you want the liberal voice to be heard, if you want to win elections, you've got to win in the Midwest. Okay? You have to win the Midwest. Okay? And liberals don't get it. The majority of hunters in America live in pretty much two particular areas. They live in the Midwest, and they live in Alaska. Right. Now there's a population in New York, and there's a population, I'm pretty sure, in New Jersey and other places. But when did you last see a liberal say, I'm not for gun control? Okay. When have you last seen a liberal president say, I'm not for banning of guns? And a lot of the voters and a lot of the millennials in Texas that don't bother with taking surveys, and that's the majority voice there actually, they hunt, they fish, they participate outdoors. They also work in areas related to natural gas and oil production. Okay? They either work in industry that's relying upon them or dependent upon them. Just like they are in the Dakotas. They're just like me. They don't have time to go fill out online surveys to try to prove a point or whatever else. They just go out, they go to work, come home, they raise their families, they talk to their spouses, they check on their kids' homework, and I do that every day. So, what are the millennials left with if they're evenly split or even close to evenly split? And this last election showed the millennials are pretty close to evenly split. Hillary Clinton, last check, she won by 800,000 votes in a popular vote. And the majority of that group lived in the inner cities. Lived in high population cities. I'm not saying inner cities is a bad thing. I'm saying they lived in major population sectors. That's where she won at. Okay? But go back on the map and take a look at Tarrant County, Texas. It's right next to Dallas, and Dallas is that blaring blue blob on my map. And Dallas has always been a liberal county. I've never known it to not be a liberal county, not to be voting Democrat. Okay? Donald Trump struck a nerve with the American populace. He didn't strike a nerve with New York and LA and Dallas and Atlanta, all those places. He struck a nerve where it needed to be struck, in the heartland of the United States. He went out and with the intent of winning those states and their electoral vote, simply because he could, simply because he wanted to, simply because he had to. And that's what people don't understand. That's why nobody wants to realize is that Donald Trump won the election by winning in places the Democrats have forsaken. Okay. He went out, got his message out there. He went out and did things intentionally so that he could win. Okay. Is he arrogant? Yes. Has he said some stuff that's offensive? Yeah. Okay. Is he the president? Or is he the president-elect, rather? Right now he is. Will he be the president in the near future? Yep. Okay. And, you know, I, for one, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to watch the inauguration. Okay. And then I'm going to go to bed that night knowing that I'm in a better position than what I was when I recorded this video. You know, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a thing. People, we need to get over ourselves. We need to focus more on how to balance out the job situation than we do all these other things these liberals are running around saying. It's just sad. It's difficult to watch. It's difficult to hear. It's difficult to understand. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. I'm the Repentant Conservative.